Hello everybody, it's Erin LaFaive of Full Circle Herbals, and I am doing day 2 Drink More Herbal Tea Challenge. Today we're going to be talking about the different kinds of herbs you can find in herbal tea blends, and so I'll show you some that I have here. But just to recap, yesterday we were talking about different ways to make herbal tea, so you can make them hot and cold, use loose leaf tea blends, tea bags, fresh herbs, dried herbs, and there's numerous ways to have them strained out or put them in your own tea bags or buy them already done. So if you didn't see that video or that little lesson, it's still in this Facebook page. So just look for day 1. It should be fairly close because I just did it yesterday. And then if you also want to get the replay sent to your email inbox and the handouts, then please sign up to my email list, and I'll put that link in the comments after I do the live lesson here. So I see Amanda has joined us. Hello, Amanda. Glad you can catch the live. All right, so there's lots of different types of herbs that are commonly found in tea blends that are good for everyday use and drinking. So I sent that list to you. I also have some to show you. So these are growing right now out and about in my yard. So this is the stinging nettle. So, and I'll teach you tomorrow, or is it tomorrow? No, in 2 days, I'll teach you how to do some drying and harvesting little tricks as well. So this is stinging nettle, and yes, I can hold it because there's just little hairs on here. You might even be able to see them. Nah, maybe not. The little hairs on here, if they poke into your skin, then they kind of break open and this fluid goes into the skin and makes it itchy. But they're sticking out straight, and if I just pull up on them, then they break. And this one doesn't have too many, so that's kind of good too. It's in flower right now, so this is not the ideal time that I would actually harvest it, but I'll talk about that more later. But yes, so nettle, if you ever see that in herbal tea blend, and you can also find it already prepackaged in bags, in tea bags, and definitely you can buy it in bulk at Mountain Rose Herbs or Frontier Co-op or some other places online too. But it's super easy to grow, cut, and dry actually. So it's good. That's a very nutritional one. It's got lots of nutrients, vitamins, trace minerals in it. The United States Department of Agriculture has a nutritional profile on it, so you can look that up as well. And if I remember, I'll put that in the comments later on. So yeah, so the leaves is the main part that is used for drinking nettle tea. So it's very good. It's also acts as a natural antihistamine. I drink it for my seasonal allergies, and you probably have seen me post a lot about that on my Facebook page because it's just that kind of that time of the season where there's lots of ragweed, and it's very, very strong this year. Also, in places right now that have a lot of smoke from wildfires, nettle tea would be good and ideal to be drinking as well. Next one is anise hyssop. So anise hyssop is in the mint family. It's got a square stem, actually. I'm not sure if you can see the squareness of it. Not too much, but the square stem indicates it's in the mint family. Smells amazing. Bees love it, and it has a licorice type flavor to it. Not like a really strong licorice flavor. It also has a sweetness to it too. So it's commonly added to tea blends for the flavor, kind of the warming property of it too, used in like cough and cold remedies as well. So that's what this looks like. It's blooming now, kind of a purple one. Another one that is easily grown in this area of Wisconsin. So anise hyssop, it reseeds itself actually. So it's very prolific in my yard. It grows up wherever it wants to be. and I allow it to persist until it dies back and after a hard freeze, because the bees will be on this one and other pollinators until until it gets too cold. So the leaves and the flower can be used in teas. If you're ever reading a tea label on a box, like if you're buying bagged tea already and it says something like, well, here's a very good example. Sleepy time tea is pretty well known, but what's in it? So, look at the ingredients list and see what's on it. And a lot of the commonly used herbs are in there. So chamomile, lavender, catnip, things like that. So anise hyssop is one that you'll probably see. It's not the same as hyssop. There's other plant varieties out there called hyssop, and that's a different plant. This one's called anise hyssop because of the anise usually refers to like the licorice type flavor. So, oh, we've got an interruption. What is it, Rowan? Oh, you're here. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, so here we go. Anise hyssop is a good one. This is a good one to use for cold tea as well. So if it's hot outside and you're not really interested in having a hot cup of tea, if you just pick these leaves off and then, cut them up or just tear them up and plop them into some water, then you'll get a nice refreshing flavor from that. I'm drinking cold tea right now. This is Argo tea. Argo is one of my favorite ones to buy if I'm out and about and I want some tea. I'm putting the link for Argo tea there so you can see it. But Argo tea comes in a glass bottle. It has real ingredients in it. For example, this one has ginger in it, and when you buy the bottle, you can actually see the ginger pieces like floating on the bottom. Then you got to shake it up. They usually have a green or black tea in there, but they also have one that's like a hibiscus flavored one, and that one's really refreshing for hot days. So that's yummy. Yeah, so here we got anise hyssop. Just looked at nettle. Nettle, as long as you dry it or cook it, that stinging hair irritation part of it goes away. So that's the good news about it. If I have my choice of have skin irritation from poison ivy or nettles, it would certainly be nettles, because nettles go away fairly quickly, 15, 20 minutes maybe. Cold pack does wonders for a nettle sting, but poison ivy is an oil and it really persists on the skin. So nettles, not so bad. Okay, next I have some chocolate mint. A lot of the mints look the same in terms of little small leaves like this, opposite leaves. Their flower structure is pretty similar too, tiny on these ones so you can't see it as much, but it kind of has like a little hood and a lip, like a landing pad and a hood on them. That's what the flower looks like. So again, it's a mint family, so it's got a square stem. If you put it through your fingers, it kind of clunks along. This is another great one for cold infusion. If you just want to take some of these leaves and flowers off and put them into a drink, you certainly could do that. You could garnish, any kind of drink, or maybe even like a cupcake, even baked goods. You could put these pretty flowers on them, as well as the anise hyssop. So chocolate mint grows crazy. It'll grow, and if it hits the ground in your lawn or some other part of your garden, it'll actually re-root itself on these stems and then creep along and go that way. So it can be very aggressive in its growing, and maybe goes into areas you don't want it to go in. So it's a good one to clip back and keep trimmed up. So what I was going to say something about this. What was it? Good for tummy. This is good for like any of the mints, peppermint, spearmint, chocolate mint is good for upset tummies. A good one to get kids to drink because it's just a very common flavor, mint, gum, things like that, toothpaste. So I prefer spearmint. That's my mint of choice for upset stomachs. So that's what I like to have. but chocolate mint is fun to have as well, and it's just a little bit of different flavor than most of the other mints. So many mints out there, many, many, many. Here's one that you can find in mixes, usually tea mixes, usually for women's reproductive system. This is a raspberry, most likely a white raspberry. You can see how whitish it is on the back, or silverish looking. And so white raspberry, what you can actually do with this is just clip these off and dry them. And I'll talk more about harvesting and drying herbs on day 4 of this challenge here. So, but these are dried, and you can certainly make a hot tea of this, and it's good just for like a woman's reproductive tonic. So, you know, menstruation cramps, people who are pregnant take this one too. Or even to help along with pregnancy. So this is a raspberry leaf. They do have thorns on them, but I usually just take a scissors and start clipping off the leaves and then let them dry in a basket, or I also put them in dehydrator. So that's another one. These ones I'm taking here are ones that can be found usually at a greenhouse if you want to grow them yourself, or like the raspberry and the nettles grow wild here. This is lemon balm. Lemon balm is commonly found in tea mixes. It's better fresh because as it dries, it loses its lemony scent and flavor to it. It holds some of it, but a fresh lemon balm, cold or hot tea is the best. I like to make a hot tea of the leaves and then make some ice cubes with it, and then put the ice cubes in a bag, because then you can have it all winter long. It's also good to add to other teas. If you make a hot tea and you want to cool it down pretty fast, you could take lemon balm, these lemon balm ice cubes, and put it in there, or you can make ice cubes out of any of these herbs that I'm talking about here, just so that you have, you know, freshly made tea out of the fresh leaf, and get maximum flavor. Lemon balm is also known for its antiviral component, so it's been looked at for herpes virus, making salves for the lips, or taking internally to assist with viral issues. It's also very calming, a very gentle calming one. So kids, it's good for that. It's not going to make sleepy or anything. It's just got a lot of calming properties. It's really good in a tincture as well, like a vegetable glycerin tincture. All right, what else do I have? Oh, here's another. Here is lemon balm in flower, just a tiny, tiny little flower. It doesn't have showy flowers like some plants do. So yeah, that's what it looks like when it's in flower, just very small. Very good smelling. Usually comes up pretty early in the season too, so it's kind of cold out. Everything else is still trying to warm up from the snow, and that lemon balm is pretty green, pretty early. Here is one that not many people know about. This is goldenrod. It isn't found in many commercial formulas, so if you buy loose leaf tea already mixed together, or bagged tea, you're not typically going to find goldenrod in it. This is Solidago canadensis, but it is one that I want more people to know about. So it is used for colds, coughs, as well as some people use it for seasonal affective disorder, depression, things like that. So most people think they're allergic to goldenrod, but right now it's the giant ragweed that's out there. So they're both about the same height. And since this one has showy yellow flowers, everybody can see it from far off distances and think that's what's causing their allergies, but it's the ragweed because it's wind pollinated. So the flowers on ragweed are like green. They're not very big. They don't have any need to show off color or scent because they're not trying to attract pollinators to come help them pollinate. They have very light, dusty like pollen that can go through the air, and that's what causes most of the allergies. This pollen here is very heavy and sticky so that it stays in one place for the most part, so that when pollinators come along, they actually have some to harvest and move around for it. So yeah, so this is kind of a newer one within the last couple of years that I've been testing out with drying it. Let's see, do I have any? I have some hanging here that this is all dried up. And so making tinctures out of it and things like that. So this is one that I'm going to be trying more of in hot tea. So that's goldenrod. All right, I'm just going to check my notes real quick here, see what I am. Oh yeah. So lemon thyme is another one that some people may have in the garden for like a culinary or cooking herb, but lemon thyme can be used to add a lot of flavor to any kind of herbal tea because it's got a good strong lemon flavor. Another one that most people that I do see in tea mixes and also can buy it separately in its own tea bag is dandelion root. Dandelion root actually has something in it that's helpful as a prebiotic. So we hear all about this probiotics and getting the gut flora and environment to be highly diverse. Well, those probiotics, those microorganisms living in the gut area, they also need to be fed nutrients as well. And so inulin is something that they, some of those gut bacteria do like to have around. And so a dandelion root can be useful to help those probiotics live happily in the gut there. So dandelion root is kind of a strong flavor like tea. It's kind of a hearty, robust flavor. And some people like it, some people don't. And so there's other ways that we can flavor the teas to be more enjoyable. And I'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow in the live chat here in this Facebook page. So the other, I did not mention yesterday about another way to make tea, and that is sun tea. So you can put tea, just regular water outside with your herbs in them, and let it sit in sun and let that warm up for a few hours at least. And then the sun and the warmth of that will infuse out the herbs. It's really a fun way to make tea, especially with if you want to make a lot of tea at one time and have fresh herbs in there. So sometimes when you use fresh herbs and you pour boiling water over them, they turn dark and dark brown thing. And sometimes it's fun to infuse them into water in the sun because they maintain their color. It's a fun experience, and it tastes really good that way too. So sun tea is another way to make your herbal tea in a bigger dose, in a bigger bundle. I also keep my tea in a carafe so that I have like a bunch of it. You know what people put coffee in to keep it warm all day? You can put it in a carafe too, so that you don't have to keep boiling water, getting your teapot ready and stuff like that. So I hope those are helpful little tips to get you to drink more tea and to understand what you're drinking a little bit when you check those boxes of tea bags and to find out what's in them. So join me tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time right here so that I can teach you a little bit more about how to liven up some cups of tea to make it a little bit more enjoyable, to maybe get some family members to try tea that you want them to, drink a little something different, maybe not just soda and pop and things like that. I have mentioned a few ways to make tea a little bit more jazzy so far, but we'll go over it tomorrow as well. So thanks for joining me. I will see you next time.